Good morning, Bitcoin. Today is Tuesday, February 27th, 2018. My name is Thomas Hunt, and here's what's happening today in Bitcoin. The price of Bitcoin was up 2.96% in the last 24 hours, with a last of 10,625, a high of 10,868, and a low of 10,152. That's $1 for 9,413 Satoshis. As we talked about yesterday on the show, we would like to start featuring the Mayer multiple on this show. And I did have it wrong yesterday, like I thought. The numbers didn't add up. It didn't look right. I wasn't confident in it, you could tell. But what we're going to do today is we're going to take the 200-day moving average, which is 8,624, and we're going to go ahead and calculate the Mayer multiple. So as you can see right here in our chart, what is the Mayer multiple? Corrected. I even think Mayer multiple is what I'm going to say correctly. The price of Bitcoin divided by the 200-day moving average. Yesterday I had it backwards. If we do this, we take 10,578, divide by 8,682, we get a Mayer multiple of 1.21, which is much more in line with the average Mayer multiple of 1.47. If we look at it on a chart, the chart's the same as yesterday. When the Mayer multiple is very high, like 8 or 6, that might be a selling opportunity. If the Mayer multiple is very low or perhaps even below 1, you might look at it as a buying opportunity. But thanks so much. We got it correct today. And thanks to Trace Mayer. You guys get upset when I say things wrong, but it's going to happen all the time. But thanks to Trace Mayer for allowing us to use the Mayer multiple in the show. Moving on, self-proclaimed Bitcoin creator sued for allegedly stealing $5 billion worth of cryptos, as well as other assets. The Dave Kleinman and Craig Wright, aka Australian alleged Satoshi story, continues to fascinate. It sounds like the pair together mined an early 1.1 million Bitcoins, not $1.1 million, 1.1 million Bitcoins were mined by the early pair. Then, allegedly, Craig Wright fakes Kleinman's signature using a common internet font called Otto to fake the signature. Kleinman, as you may have read, had a motorcycle accident in April of 2013, then developed sicknesses based upon the accident and later passed away. Many think that perhaps Dave Kleinman is Satoshi Nakamoto. It's starting to develop. The story's continuing, but like we've said, $5 billion is what Mr. Wright is being sued for, a major Bitcoin case. We're going to keep watching this as it develops. CoinDesk, bull return, Bitcoin eyes 11,000 following the upside break. Let's go right to the views of Omkar Godpool, who says, Bitcoin looks set to test 11,000 today and could extend gains to 11,385, the weekly 10-day moving average. A violation there would shift attention to key resistance levels, the inverse head and shoulders neckline, and the descending trend line. If the daily closes above the descending trend line, it could allow for a stronger rally to 17,400. However, the bearish scenario is still in play. If Bitcoin rejects the weekly 10-day moving average and drops below 9,280, it could add credence to a bearish weekly RSI and trigger a sell-off to 8,000 or perhaps 7,800, according to Omkar Godpool at Coinbase. Thank you so much. Rapper 50 Cent, who bragged about owning Bitcoin, now denies it. It's unfortunate because 50 Cent said that he forgot about his Bitcoin, but apparently he also forgot that he contracted for his Bitcoin through a company that would instantly sell his Bitcoin into fiat. Mr. 50 Cent ended up with a lot of fiat and perhaps owns a random 6 or 7 Bitcoin to his name, not this 700 Bitcoin that had set the world on fire. As 50 Cent explains, if the press about him is generally good, he doesn't deny it. And the press about him owning Bitcoin was generally good until it ran in the way of his bankruptcy filings. Then it was time to fess up. Someone stole 7 Bitcoins from Apple co-founder Steve Wozniak. This is a very sad story. As many of you know, Steve Wozniak basically invented the personal computer with Apple. Do you like your computer? You owe it to Woz. And it's a sad story where Woz was attempting to sell his Bitcoin, and he chose to sell them to someone who paid him with a credit card. The credit card turned out to be fraudulent, the transactions were canceled, and unfortunately, Mr. Wozniak had already sent his Bitcoins. This just highlights the failing in traditional credit card payments. They can be canceled, they can be reversed. You can always call American Express and say, I didn't make that payment, or just use someone else's credit card number. Sad news for Woz, but as the article says, Wozniak probably won't worry about it because he's already worth more than $100 billion. Hi-oh. Bitcoin developer warns Lightning Network is flawed and vulnerable to DOS attacks. Normally, we'd set this aside as FUD, but the Bitcoin developer in this case happens to be Peter Todd. Peter Todd warns that the Lightning Network may have made what was a good political decision to focus on the decentralized distributed payment channels, but as a technical solution, it may have been simpler to first build a hub and spoke payment model, even though politically that would be unacceptable. The Lightning Network may be vulnerable to denial of service attacks in its current incarnation. Once again, this is something that can be fixed. Maybe we need Peter Todd's help. Todd also questions why the Lightning Network was set up in C rather than using a newer programming language such as Rust. The problems they seem to be running into are seg faults or segmentation faults, frequently used when poorly written programs attempt to access memory locations that are outside of the scope of the program. Seems like something that could have been fixed with Rust network. We will continue to follow this story, and I don't know. I expect the Lightning developers probably to come out against this and to call it FUD and to bring us through a whole thing. But I'm hoping that they take it in the form of science and they say Peter Todd is trying to help us. What can we do to address his comments? That's what I hope they'll take it. And finally, I just want to give a shout out to the Internet Archive. Thanks so much for hosting me last night. We had a little panel discussion with my friend Jackie from Purse, and we talked about Bitcoin and what's been going on. And then they played the excellent movie Banking, excuse me, Banking on Bitcoin. Kind of an older movie, kind of told the New York side of the story, featured a lot of Charlie Shrem, Eric Voorhees, and the New York Bitcoin Center. Very interesting time in Bitcoin. Great to see a lot of interviews with my friends. And it was also fascinating to see their discussion and attempt to solve the mystery of who is Satoshi Nakamoto. They did a really good job addressing the various cyberpunks and showing how all of these people could have done it, but none of them seems just quite right. They seem to believe that it was Nick Scavo. They also talked about Adam Back as a possibility, Chom, and as well as, of course, Craig Wright, the Australian alleged Satoshi Nakamoto. So thanks so much for watching. I am on the road today, so I'm using the webcam mic very close to my mouth. I hope that's producing good sound. I'm sure you'll tell me in the comments. Otherwise, be sure to check out The Vortex with the Bitcoin News Show. I think Andy Hoffman has some new commentaries coming up. And be sure to subscribe down below if you haven't already. Like this episode. Remember, likes are free, and that's how YouTube tells what videos they should promote to other people. So if you like the video, you're helping promote the video. And if you've got some extra Bitcoin, you could always scan the QR code on your screen and donate. But we're running out of time. And until next time, bye-bye.